we have to be very direct and to the point now. We're not in easy times, and I'm not going to try to pacify the audience because they have many different spiritual views. I run into a lot of different people from different backgrounds, but to be clear, the position I take, the only reason I would have the knowledge or any of the knowledge that I've shared with people has been based on God's word, the Bible. Um, yes, it's under attack. Yes, it says things that are inconvenient for the moment. Doesn't work very well in the mammon industry because of its teaching of spirituality away from that. But you'll notice that all the other spiritual directions or teachings of what we call gurus or other religious beliefs seem to be so embraced along that serpent teaching of the mammon and the whoredom that has been created through fiction and through eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Um, the Bible is God's word. It's a charter, and it's got just just insurmountable amount of evidence to prove that it came from a source that is not from man, but inspired from the source of life. Unfortunately, people have taken internet. Uh, I would say internet basically videos and listen to them thinking that they are actually based on truth that has led them away from the book. But when they actually do the direct examination themselves to look into it, they'll find that there is no possible way they could believe that this has come from anything other than a divine source of good. So the only salvation that's going to come to people outside this legal disaster that's out there through man's governments that are destined, according to this book, to actually crash and be destroyed by the divine source. He's going to evict the bad tenants. If I was the landlord and I saw what these legal governments have done worldwide, I would evict the tenants. And I would do whatever is required to cleanse the earth that I once gave as a gift. There's no possible way you could see anything other than a disaster doomsday with what's happening with man and his governments. All these governments are on a doomsday clock with God, and they're going to go down, and God's kingdom is going to arrive. And it's not something that's in your hearts. It's a reality. It's a power source that's going to come in, and the real landlord, the creator, is going to wipe out all these false landlords and their claim to fame through Satan. But we have a charter that other religions do not have. It doesn't matter what faith you may believe in or what you may be embracing right now. You don't have a book with a king. You don't have a book with a spiritual source of life and the rules of morality that prevent you from the disaster we see today. It's because man has gone away from this spirituality and this source that the warning still exists and people can still accept it. But unfortunately, the world has thrown it off to the side, and now they're claiming, oh my goodness, my rights are being violated. No, you violated God first before you let that happen. You've allowed yourself to be under these people, and you've been beguiled by Satan. And he's pulled you into his world kingdom, which is now this UN coming, and with its false human rights code that says you're going to be okay as long as you do as you're told under the World Health Organization. So he's injected the poison already. He's got most of the people ready to advocate towards this new world government, reversing you from an owner to being an NWO instead of an OWN. And that new world order is going to take over, and it represents Satan and the serpent. And that's what's coming. So we have to be very, very aware and awake that God has not forsaken you. You've forsaken God. And he has given you a charter, and he's given you the ability to defend yourself against the evil and the fiction of Satan. But not if you're not embracing it. If you're going down a direction you believe you can be an American and a Christian at the same time, and you think that the scriptures have told you that, no, it told you to be separate, to be private, not public. not to be involved with this world. You're to be spiritual. And therefore, it would require you to give up what you would have as the old creature before this. Interesting, when early Christians were being challenged, early Christians basically thrown into the arenas to not burn incense to the false gods of Caesar, they basically, the ones who succumbed to it, carried around a certificate called a certificate of libelli, which was evidence that they had basically renounced Jesus Christ, and that they did not believe in the Son of God, and they believed in Caesar as a son of a god, a false god, and therefore they carried such a thing around with them. Could this also be evidence right now, these certificates, could they be evidence of the same thing? Something libelous against God, something that's opposite to grace being legal, something that says you can pay for your own salvation when that's not the message? We have to really go to where we are now and see the message that is surrounding you from the world, and be on guard that you could have been deceived or may be being deceived, whether it's from your medical doctor who believes in the world of man and Satan, whether it be your religious leader who prospers from his pulpit, from taking the benefits of Satan's gleanings to deceive. Could it be the politician that you're listening to who has nothing to do with the King of Kings and Lord of Lords? They're soon to be crushed and destroyed, and that's just what has to happen. And I can't stop the time clock on this, but this is what we're up against right now. This is the greatest battle between good and evil. You're going to have to choose a side. You can't sit on the fence anymore. You can't carry good and evil in your name. You can't be on both sides. You can't be a traitor. You can't blow hot and cold. You can't have lukewarm position on this. You're either hot or you're cold, and therefore you have to elect a choice of which side you're on. And it's not going to be popular to choose a side that doesn't go with everything goes with the UN. Everything's okay. We're all going to hold hands. We're all in this together. No, there's only going to be a few that are going to survive this, and the majority are not going to reach salvation, and they will get eliminated because they're either on the good side or they're on the bad side. The realities are there. I hope you choose the right choice, or you go down the direction of spiritual and do not choose the temporal existence that is before you right now.